All right, so let me share with you three things that's going to make you instantly stand out from everybody else when you are in boot camp. So let me share with you these three things. So number one, have a leadership position. When you have a leadership position, whether it be you're in charge of everyone's medical, dental, you're the leader of the whole division, you're in charge of the bathroom, or you're in charge of the cleaning locker, making sure everything's on point. There's multiple different leadership positions, but whatever the case may be for you, when you have a leadership position, your accountability factor goes up, your reliability factor goes up, and also if you excel at what you do, by the end of boot camp, your instructors get to pick 10% of the division and they get promoted. So for example, let's say 100 people made it through the end of boot camp, right? So they get to choose 10%, so 10 people, so they get promoted from E1 to E2 to E2 to E3. Now, you can't go any higher from E3. You can't just be E4, right? E3 is the max when you are in boot camp. So if you have a leadership position, just having it doesn't mean it guarantees you a spot in getting promoted. It doesn't. You have to do well, you have to excel, because by the end of boot camp, there's so many people, your instructors get to take a look back and say who stood out in the mind the most, who was accountable the most, who excelled the most, who grew up, who performed best throughout boot camp. And having a leadership position definitely increases your chances compared to everybody else when you are in boot camp. So that's number one. Number two is be academically excellent. When you are academically excellent, when I was in boot camp, there was one guy, he just got hundreds on hundreds. Academically, he performed excellent throughout boot camp. And at the same time, because academically he did so well, he was put into an educational leadership role, and he taught other people, hey, study these, these are the study materials, these are what you need to know. And when that happened, he got promoted because, academically he took charge, he was a leader in the academics compared with everybody else. And besides that, when you graduate in boot camp, you graduate with multiple different divisions. So for example, like 10 different divisions. Including yourself, 10 including yourself. Out of the 10, one person gets the overall academic excellence. And when you do, you go up to the captain. When you graduate recruit training command and you get promoted from E1 to E2 or whatever the case may be for you. At the same time, you get a letter of accommodation from the captain, which makes you also look great, right? A letter of accommodation. And so that's number two, being academically excellent. And number three, being physically a beast. In the Navy, when you're in boot camp, there's what's called the Captain's Cup, which all the divisions get together and they compete in physical challenges. So push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, volleyball. There's multiple different stuff and events, but everyone competes. And when I was in boot camp, there was this one guy, he didn't particularly deserve it, I would say, overall, but the instructors really liked him because he was physically very, very great. And when it came to Captain's Cup, he really showed his colors and he really performed. And because of that, he got promoted. Personally, for me, I don't think he really deserved it compared to the other people, in my opinion. But it is what it is. Physically, he was really great. So I guess in that factor, he deserved it. So those are the three things. Now, just being great in one of the three is going to make you stand out. Now, if you're great in all three, I would say it's going to make you a superstar. But, the reason for all this isn't just to be great in boot camp. It's not. The overall picture that I always try to say is, when you are in boot camp, enjoy every single moment, enjoy every single experience that you get. When you excel in one of these three, it enhances your experience. Because overall, by the end of boot camp, it's all about the experience. It's all about the lessons you learn. It's all about the things that you get to do compared to what other people really couldn't. You can't really repeat boot camp all over again, right? So when you have a unique position, when you have a unique experience compared to everybody else, there are unique things that you learn. When you have a leadership position, when I was in A school, I had a leadership position. So I was the leader of the whole division, the fleet I was in. And the things that you experience, other people who haven't had the leadership position, who haven't had, the responsibility to take charge of 100 people, they don't really get to understand. They don't really get to see their perspective. They don't really get to experience the difficulty, the challenges, the different little aspects that come into play. So when you have a leadership position, when you have one of these three, you get to definitely experience different things, and it makes you stand out. And overall, not just in boot camp, these qualities carry throughout A school, throughout the fleet, wherever you go. If you have, academic excellence, physically great, or having a leadership position. So I highly recommend, you strive to get at least one of these three. All right. So those are the 3 ways. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great Navy day.